Welcome back to the Hammers Academy YouTube channel. I'm Henry Thomason. I'll be hosting as usual. I'm joined by Adam from Canada. How you doing?
Good. Just getting over some mild depression. Nothing seasonal, just window related. But other than that, good.
And also Lou. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Spent a lot of time writing yesterday for very little sort of reward in terms of West Ham actually signing a player. But anyway, so we're going to be answering a few questions that I've got for these two. So I might chip in my own opinion every now and again. So the first one is did the deadline day surprise you? The fact that no one came in, were you at all surprised by this? Adam, you have the first go.
I was surprised, and I was pushing in voting for all of the options. I said we'd sign 2 to 3 players before the end of the window. So I was shocked and surprised, because usually even Sullivan knows, I think through his sons probably more than anything, the fan pressure and the supporter pressure that we need to do something. And I think probably at times his sons have said, okay, we need to get on this right now. And whether that didn't happen or whether he has his eyes fixed on something else, it really did shock me that we didn't get anyone in. No talk of a left back at all, even though right now we have one left wing back and one left center back in Cresswell. Neither can cover each other in the opposite position should there be an injury. So that's bad. And I thought the issues were glaring enough. And also the article written earlier this summer about, the money spent or the money recouped from Grady Diangana's sale will be reinvested. They published that piece on their website. So to say I'm shocked is an understatement.
Yeah, Luke, what about you? Were you surprised or just fully expecting a day of disarray?
Yeah, I think the phrase surprised but not disappointed. No, sorry. Disappointed but not surprised comes to mind. I got that the wrong way around then. Logically, you would think even Sullivan, like Adam said, would, finally fork out and realise that is not invested throughout the summer. So at least he'd potentially be able to, recruit some last minute, bargains and or whatever. But we were linked to so many centre backs over the last few days. Just the fact that not even one materialised, I think just points to his pulling power, and nobody seems to want to work with him. Tomori turned us down, even though we could have offered him perhaps more game time than Chelsea. There were others as well. Tottenham swooping in for the Swansea centre back. So it just seems like Sullivan didn't push hard enough, and I think even though we've won our last couple of games, it's not going to carry on forever, and we certainly needed the squad depth, to continue and push up the table.
Yeah, I think I agree sort of with both of you, actually. I really thought that we would sign someone. I thought after the interview David Sullivan did on TalkSport, where he was saying he's got deals that are ready to go kind of thing, but Moyes doesn't just want anybody. I thought it would get to sort of the 11th hour and he'd go, right, you're having the player, even if you want him or not, because I want to get the deal. I want to at least try do something that might get the fans on side, whether or not they're the right player or not. Just something that would help. But I don't think it seemed to ever going to happen, which I think might be a good thing by the fact Moyes sort of has stood his ground and maybe said, no, I don't want this player or that player, in terms of being forced to play and only forcing the board to go after what Moyes deems as the right player. But again, it's a shame that we've seen so many almost get close on, but then as soon as they've actually spoken to the club and changed their mind, like Tomori, Kalata Carr, I think he was the other one that actually sort of spoke to the club and decided, I don't want to go near here actually. But yeah, so obviously we were linked with 100,000 centre backs across Europe and everywhere, from Jonathan Tah, Armando Izzo, Alexander Dragovic, Fokio Tomori. I could go on. I sort of wanted to know, who are you guys sort of most disappointed that we didn't get, if anyone at all? Maybe you didn't want any of them. So, Adam, we'll go to you first.
I did a bit of quick research on Kaleta Carr because I didn't know that name prior to us being linked with them. And I was really interested in him, I think, because I was following along with the percentages, 60%, 80% convinced this will happen, and was sort of trying to talk myself into the move. But he looks like what we need, sort of that adventurous ball playing center back. He's not adverse to making a tackle or two and picking up a card or two, but it's that sort of physicality that you need in the back line. And I think that was the one I was most excited about. And then when that wasn't happening, the focus shifted to Jonathan Tah, and that's someone who I had seen relatively little of, but heard lots of, and I was convinced that he would be a solid participant here at West Ham, and thought at the very least we would get him. But I would say Kaleta, but again, that was more spurred on late than any sort of ideas prior.
Yeah, and Lou, what about you?
Yeah, Jonathan Tah for me. He's been playing for Leverkusen for quite a few years now, and he's been linked away every summer, usually linked to a big club, which shows the ability what he's got. But this year he was linked to us at the end, and I never really thought it was. Yeah. Don't mean to put us down, but we're not Bayern Munich. But yeah, I never really thought it was going to happen. But a part of me thought, he would be such a great addition, slotting next to Ogbonna, and either Diop or Balbuena, like the missing piece of our defence in that five at the back. But yeah, he was the one who I really thought, if it did happen, would really solidify our defence. There were a few others, of course, but I was a bit mixed on Tomori. I would have liked him as a player. I think he would have improved our defence, but I didn't like the fact that we would have been developing him while Chelsea get all the rewards at the end, and there might have been a bit of rice in there somewhere. So I wasn't too disappointed that fell through, but I just wanted any old centre back. Maybe not Craig Dawson, but
Yeah,
about Tomori too there. Sorry, Henry. I think Jim White was saying today on TalkSport that we were going to be paying Chelsea £50,000 every time he didn't play. That was the deal that was agreed, plus a sizable transfer fee. So, like you said, Lou, I didn't want us to be developing Chelsea's player to then return him next summer when they come in to try and buy Rice, let alone paying them £50,000 every time Tomori didn't play. If for whatever reason Moyes didn't like him, and like we've seen, he's been super stubborn on not using players at his disposal, that could be costing West Ham more and more money that would eventually come out of the next window's paycheck.
Yeah, I think I've got to agree. Like with Tomori, I think you would, like Lou says, I think he would have been a very nice option to have, but the finances of just a loan deal was sort of becoming a bit ridiculous. I mean, you hear the Barkley loan to Villa has cost Villa £11 million with his wages and loan fees and everything, which is just an astonishing amount of money. But yeah, I think I've got to agree with Jonathan Tah. When he sort of first got linked, I was like, "There's no way." And then sort of as a sort of usual West Ham way, I'm going, "Oh, but what if? But what if he does do it? What if he does come?" And then all of a sudden, I saw the rumours about the loan offer because we were concerned about his pace or lack of it. And I just thought, how are we the ones that are sort of nitpicking at a player, especially a player like Jonathan Tah, especially if we're playing three at the back with Issa Diop and Ogbonna, who have got pace, so he can afford to not be the one with pace, because we've got defenders with pace. We just need a good aerial, solid defensive man, and Jonathan Tah would have been that. But of course, Leverkusen weren't willing to sort of let him go that late on, and that just shows the deal should have been done earlier rather than. I think X said we were in talks for a couple of weeks, but it should have been done start of the window. Really, a player like Jonathan Tah, where Leverkusen really wouldn't have wanted to lose him. But of course, so we've only signed one new face to the first team in Vladimir Kufal. Thomas Souček has obviously signed as well. Whether or not you count him as a summer signing or not, I think that's a personal thing, because it was agreed in the summer that he would stay forever. Well, hopefully forever. And it was paid then. Well, part of it, because we love our instalments. But whatever your views on it, it's still not enough. And of course, Osama Ashley is our other signing for the academy. So not the biggest influx of players coming into the club. So obviously we need more. and there is still the domestic window open, popping until the 16th of October. And so I sort of want to know, like, out of the Championship, because I presume your pick will be from the Championship, what would be like the one player you'd want to have out of the ones that have all been like linked with us? So, Adam, we'll go to you first.
I think you have to pick a center back because that's where we need it the most. So I would say Roden would be a top pick, but I also think, Henry, you and I spoke a lot about Joe Worrell from Nottingham Forest, someone I know you know quite well. So I would pick.
Forest currently don't have well, no, they just appointed Chris Hughton, so there's a bit of unrest at the club. It could be time.
It's true. I think so too. But if we're going for adventurous outside of a center back, because I think that's probably going to be the most logical pick. If you're managing West Ham, you could buy one player. You're buying a center back right now. But if we're going outside of that, and we have 30 million pounds according to different sources to spend, I would pick Ryan Manning. I think he's a QPR left back, left wing back, left mid, central mid, very versatile.
Left back and centre mid, isn't it?
And I think the issue with him, not the issue at the time when we were playing four at the back, the issue was Manning was a little bit more Masuaku than he was Cresswell. This is when people believe Cresswell defended better. So I think the addition of a new left wing back would be good, and plus he can play central midfield. So it does add another player that slots in there. So Ryan Manning is my excess pick to Worrell, but both defenders.
Because he could offer backup to quite a few places, especially that centre mid area, which is very sort of slim now.
Shockingly thin.
Yeah, and Lou, who'd your pick be?
I agree that centre back is the one we all want and the one that will, I guess, help us most this season. But Adam covered that, so I'll go with a little bit more of a flair player in Ben Rama. I know he's been on everyone's lips all summer long. And I think the owners really need to start thinking what will appease the fans at the minute. And I think a signing like that will boost the morale of the fans. And not just for the sake of the fans, but for the sake of the team. I think whether he gets it straight away or whether he earns his way in, I think he would be a really good addition to the team, and he give us certainly an extra dimension in attack. I don't think we've got anyone like him, and obviously with the departure of Anderson, we and obviously Dane Garner earlier on in the window, we need cover down that left hand side now.
Yeah, I mean, Fornals obviously currently playing at left wing. I see Ben Rama as like a mixture of Anderson and Fornals. Like, he's got the trickery of Fornals, but a bit more of the pace like Anderson. And like Flair, I know Flair and skill are probably the same thing, but it just sort of see him as a sort of perfect middling of that. So bringing him could put pressure on Fornals to perform better. With competition, I always think it's a good thing to have in the club. Or even if you do have to go to a different system because a couple centre-backs get injured, which are likely to happen, or at least contract COVID and have to miss a couple of weeks, then you can have actually the option to go to a system with wingers, with a good winger rather than Fornals playing at left wing without that sort of support three-man sort of team of Cresswell, Masuaku and himself. So I agree with Ben Rama would be a brilliant signing. My option, I think this sort of doing my run through of the squad, I think a few people obviously know how weak the spot is, but I definitely think striker definitely needs to be looked at, because we're so reliant on Antonio's sort of skill set at the moment that if anything happens to him, which it probably will at some point in the season, Haller's just not capable of doing that job. So my pick would be Josh King from Bournemouth. Apparently they're willing to sort of agree to a deal based on installments because they just want him off the wages or whatever it is. But I think he'd be a great signing. He reminds me a bit of Arnautovic without the attitude, really, in terms of he's tall, will chase down the ball, is relatively quick, and can finish relatively well. He sort of has all of that attributes to his game. So he'd be my pick. But yeah, so that'll be it from us here at the Hammers Academy. Thank you for joining me, guys. Cool.
No problem.
Yeah, Mike
Sorry,
is muted too.
I was
Appreciate it. You caught me frozen.
Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and as always, come on, you irons.